Welcome to Red, White, and Bethune. We are Jenn,
Kyle,
Ben, Molly, Eli,
and we travel with our 4 dogs in our 1983 Silver Eagle bus. Come along as we show you America through our lens. Hey there! How are you today? Surprise bonus live. Are you excited? Theodore's excited. I'm excited. Mainly because with having a service dog for 3 years now, I have learned a lot, been discriminated against, answered a whole bunch of questions, and you guys have been asking for it. A service dog live Q&A. It's here! How exciting, right? However, this is a very sensitive topic. I want you first and foremost to remember that the people that are making these comments, they're people too. They're people behind a screen, behind a keyboard, and a lot of times they're just pouring their heart out and they're really asking questions because it's what's on their heart. So I want us to remember to be respectful of those people. Let's go over a few rules of this live, okay? Ready, Fifi? Yeah. Rule number 1. Be kind. Don't be an asshole or we're kicking you out. This is your one warning. Like I tell all the kids, there are opportunities to have discussions that are really, really great. But what I'm not going to tolerate on this live is belittling somebody else, telling somebody they don't look like they need a service dog, or are you sure that's a real service dog? Oh, your disability doesn't matter. No, we're not going to do that here. This is a safe space. And if you feel like this live is going to get you so agitated, it's probably best that you don't watch. Because if you do make mean comments and you are mean, moderators will remove you from the live. I'm not going to do that to other people that are simply here wanting education. Rule number 2, I'm going to try my best to get to every single question that I can. A lot of people set in questions ahead of time. I have my own questions that I want to cover with you. And I'm going to be taking questions from the platforms that we're streaming on. We are streaming on 4 platforms, so that's a lot of questions. If you've got a question that's too personal that you don't really want to ask on the chat or have your name announced with it, email me at jen@redwhiteandbethune.com. That way it's secret. I will not tell a soul that you asked me. You'll be able to get your question answered. And that goes if I didn't get to your question tonight or didn't answer a similar one, email me. I would love to help you with your answer. So that's pretty much it. Be kind. Don't be an asshole, and I'm going to try and answer as much as I can. I am not an expert, but like I said, I have been going through this for 3 years. Let's go get into the room and get started talking. Right, Fifi? He's excited. Let's go. Oh, crap. Hi, everybody. How are you? Theodore is here with me. Hope you're having a great night. Say, oh, he's just tired. You're a hard-working boy, huh? I'm just a hard-working boy. Yeah. I know you. I'm going to tell him all of that. I am. He is such a good, hard-working boy. He is amazing. Please bear with us. We're trying to get the best signal that we can. We have been trying things all day long. Pain in the butt. Anywho, I just want to say hi. Thank you for being here. Kyle's behind the scenes. He's waving at you, but you can't really see him waving at you. And I hope that you guys are having a really good day. Hopefully the kids behave, all the good stuff. So we're live on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook. So we're covering all of the bases.
The social media spectrum.
All the social media spectrum. So you can hear Kyle talking, but you may not be able to see Kyle talking. And it's fine. So let's get this started, shall we? You guys heard the rules. Don't be an asshole. Don't say mean things. You can No! Sorry, signal again. We're trying our best. You can absolutely have a discussion in the chat, something nice and positive, a civil discussion. But me and my moderators are not going to tolerate crappiness. So thank you to Wonderful Revolution for moderating tonight. Big round of applause. But anyway, so Debbie T says, hi, Kyle.
Hello, Debbie T.
Yep, Debbie T says hi. But I want to start out by talking about what a service dog is. So a service dog is a dog that is trained to mitigate a person's disability. And the ADA website, ada.gov, is such a great resource. They have a frequently asked questions page. Earlier in the chat, I posted it. It has a lot of frequently asked questions where a lot of my answers are going to be coming from tonight. So that way there's no confusion. But what a service dog is a dog that is specifically trained to mitigate a disability. And those disabilities can range from assisting the blind to checking blood sugar levels and reminding their handlers to take medicine. It could be with PTSD. It could be with anxiety disorders. So there's a lot of, uses for a service dog. One of the questions that I got was the first one we're going to tackle today is, how do you qualify to have a service dog? And can I have my own dog be a service dog? Thank you so much. Real quick super chat. Aboma Decilent. I totally messed that up and I'm really sorry. Another hi on YouTube. Keep being real and love the positivity. Thank you so much for being here for this service dog live. I should have done like dog related
Well, there's one with you and Kevin.
Oh, there's one with me and Theodore and all that. All right, so how do you qualify to have a service dog? Well, you have to have a disability, and a disability is something that prohibits you from living everyday normal life like the other people that don't have disabilities. And can I have my own dog to be a service dog? Absolutely you can. Theodore, right here, this guy, was my own dog that I had trained by a company called All American Dog Training. And they came out, we worked for about a year with Theodore, and they came out and we trained him side by side, which quite honestly is my preferred way of training a service dog, having a training company come out to you, because I feel like the bond is so much stronger between a service dog and a handler when you're the one assisting in the training. So you absolutely can. Let's talk about, piggybacking off of that question, the 3 different ways that you can get or train a service dog. The first way is by going through a service dog company. These can range anywhere from $10,000 to $50,000. This is where a company specifically trains the dog to mitigate whatever specific disability that you have. And this company will train the dog completely, and then you go and pick the dog up. But that's $10,000 to $50,000. And no, insurance does not cover this. The second way is you can get with a local training company that comes out to you, like I did. And what they do is they train alongside you. So I learned everything right along with Theodore, and we were able to work together. And I really do feel like that's why me and Theodore's bond, yeah, you picked your head up. That's why me and Theodore's bond is so close, because we trained right alongside each other. And then there's the third way, which is called owner trained. So you can actually train your own service dog to meet your specific needs. And this, the ADA, the reason why they do this is because they don't want money to be a factor for you getting a service dog. So it is 100% possible that you can look at videos online, you can figure out how to train your service dog, and you can train them yourself. So those are the 3 different ways that you can get a service dog. They range from $10,000 to $20,000, or anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000 that you put in with a trainer to come to you. It could be higher, it could be less. It just depends on the area that you're in. And then the third way is you train them yourself for your specific needs. So let me go back up here and see if I've got any questions. But yeah, if you guys have questions, the best way is to put them in all caps so I can kind of scroll through and see them. So let me see. Fuzzy Doxy says, I think my daughter-in-law needs a service animal. Do they help with the depression? Absolutely. Something that a service dog can do, a task that they can perform, is to remind their owners to take their depression and anxiety medication. Remember, a service animal is a dog that is specifically trained to mitigate or perform a task for its handler. So that would qualify under the ADA rules. is if she trained them to, so what Theodore does, I mean, I know you guys would like to know, Theodore does what's called DPT for me, which is deep pressure therapy. He's essentially a weighted blanket for me. So he weighs me down to keep me grounded when the panic attack starts. And so that's what they do for a lot of PTSD sufferers, people that have military PTSD. What they dog will go into buildings to make sure that it's all clear, there's no threat in that building, and then they come back out and signal their owner that it's okay to come in. So many people think that it's just for the blind or it's just for seizures or stuff like that, but dogs can be used in so many different ways to give handlers a normal life again. So thank you, Fuzzy Doxy, for your question. To answer it simply, yes, they absolutely can. Let's see. Melissa D says, we've been looking for a service dog for my 7-year-old semi-verbal autistic son, but they were like $30,000. Do you know of any grants that help service dogs? We were in Sarasota, Florida. I'm going to tell you, contact All American Dog Training Company. They're based out of Tampa, but Hope is amazing. She is who helped train Theodore. Well, her husband Dave is who helped train Theodore, and they'll be able to give you some resources. I mean, I know there's grants out there. I don't specifically know of any myself. However, you can work with a local training company if you have a dog in mind or you already have a dog. They do need to be evaluated and all of that. But you can do it on your own for a fraction of the cost of what a lot of these companies are going to charge you to do. So thank you for your question. Kyle, I'm going to take another one here. If you could get me one from Instagram and one from TikTok, that would be super.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay. Kevin R wants to know, I hope this counts as an appropriate question. How do the pups handle the travel and the small spaces? So our dogs, quite honestly, just love us and want to be wherever we are. Theodore has flown on 6 or 7 flights at this point. He has been to Disney. He has rode Dumbo, all the rides, and we'll get to that in a minute, amusement park rides and everything. He has been everywhere, pretty much. Restaurants. Where else has he been? A crap ton of places. If I am there, Theodore's comfortable. So if I lead him somewhere, he is sucked onto me and knows what he's supposed to do. Kevin back here, you can't see him. He's lounging around. Let me see.
Yeah, someone can see him. He's in the bullpen.
There's Kevin. He is just happy to be alive. And Wheezy, same thing. So honestly, the dogs are so adaptable to travel. We take them to dog parks all the time. They have their own fence. We walk them at least twice a day. They're happy as clams being in the bus. Do you have?
JJ Sissy from Instagram. What are some breeds that are best as a service dog?
So, I mean, you have your obvious ones that are Labradors. German Shepherds also make service dogs. Golden Retrievers, another great one. Standard Poodles are amazing. Something you do need to consider when you are trying to figure out which breed of service dog would be best for you is the shedding, the grooming, the hip health problems that may be prevalent in that particular breed. But quite honestly, most dogs make amazing service dogs. And it just depends on your level of what you want to do as far as grooming, healthcare, possible health problems, how long they're going to live, what you're going to need them for. You know, if you're needing a dog that does DPT like Theodore, deep pressure therapy, you're going to want a dog that's heavier, girthier, bigger, so that way they can cover more body mass to help you. If you've got diabetes and you need a blood sugar dog, you can always get a smaller one and get a carrier that's close to your chest. That way they are right next to you. They've got your heartbeat. They can monitor your levels for you. So it really just depends on what you need from a service dog. So I hope that answered. Anything from TikTok?
Nothing on TikTok. I have one more. The Sassy May said, did he go with you to the Mall of America?
He didn't. We left him in the bus. So the thing with Theodore is that he mostly serves me at night for my night terrors. And what he does when I have a night terror is he will wake me up by laying on top of me. and I wake up, he grounds me. I'm able to wake up out of that night terror, and he can help me out of it. Now, there are days where I'm super panicky, like I know panic is going to happen. And so those days he comes with me. But there are some days where he's in the bus, we walk into a mall, and it's okay that I don't have him with me. If we're traveling a long distance, say in the Jeep, we're going like 20 to 30 minutes away, he will be with me in the Jeep. So there's certain times I need him and certain times I don't, but it's mostly at night. Anything else over there?
What made you come to his name, to naming him Theodore?
I don't really know. We stumbled across his name, quite honestly, Theodore Montgomery. I wanted him to be like distinguished. I don't call him Teddy. I don't call him Theo. It's Theodore. It's just all in one. But yeah, we were thinking up different names and we just kind of happened across Theodore and it stuck. So that's what we kind of went with. Let me see. That's many. Oh, Ashley Leith said she's here. So I don't know if we can make her in, but we'll definitely, Ashley, I know you're talking about being a mod. I don't know if Kyle checked his email, but Sunday, be prepared for Sunday because we will have you on there. Lisa says, please also mention the difference between service dog and a comfort animal. So like I said before, a service dog is a dog that is specifically trained with a task to mitigate a disability. What an emotional support animal, it's mainly for the Fair Housing Act. If you're in a place that doesn't allow dogs and you need comfort, you can also have a cat as emotional support animal. What you can do is you can go see a therapist or a doctor. They can write you a prescription and you are able to then take that to the apartment complex or the landlord, something like that. That way you can have your cat or dog with you. A lot of college students do this. You know, they're in a completely new place. They need some comfort. So basically an emotional support animal is just there to provide you comfort. They don't do a specific task. Thank you, Lisa, for mentioning that because it's very good to differentiate between the two. Kimberly Russell, thank you so much. I love your channel and positivity y'all bring to even difficult circumstances. Money for some doggy treats. What do you think, Theodore? Say thank you. That is awesome. Thank you so much, Kimberly. You are phenomenal and you made our night. You are awesome. Let me get back up here to some other comments. Kyle, if Instagram comes in, let me know. Let me see. I'm sorry. I'm doing this by myself tonight, y'all. Single Mama of 4 said, can any dog be trained as a service dog? Yes. There is no breed restrictions according to the ADA. And say there's a place that doesn't allow pit bulls. That place cannot deny you because of your service animal. So the place cannot tell you no because it's a breed that they don't like. Any dog can actually be any dog can be a service dog. Let me see. I'm coming. Let's see. Fuzzy Doxy also says, I can see a difference between a dog I got as a puppy and a 1-year rescue. The bond isn't as great from the dog side. It really depends. It depends how much time you put into that dog, because sometimes dogs can absolutely, that are rescues, be phenomenal service dogs. And sometimes puppies kind of suck. Not to be mean, but like sometimes they just aren't cut out to be a service dog. And that's why like an evaluation would come in handy. If you are thinking about doing owner trained, you could have your dog evaluated by a training company and they would come out and let you know like their responsiveness and how they think they would adapt to service training. I am definitely a proponent of doing the puppy route because that puppy is going to know you from when it's 8 weeks old. You're going to be able to develop a really great bond. So if you are thinking about doing service dog, getting from a puppy and doing basic, advanced, off-leash, and then service training, that would be the best route, in my opinion, to go. Thank you, Jan, on the lamb. This is invaluable info. Thanks, Theodore and Jen. P.S. Does he not have to be identified with a vest? Amazing question. No. Legally, through the ADA laws, they do not have to have identification at all. So Theodore wouldn't have to have a vest, but I have his vest for my protection, other people's protection, because on his vest, this is Theodore's vest. It's got a lot of wear. It's been washed a few times. But do not distract, do not pet, service dog, not all disabilities are visible. Please do not. I have like 7 patches on here that say don't pet. But I do it to let other people know this is a service dog. Please do not distract him from the work that he is doing. But legally, no, you do not have to have any type of identification, vest, anything for it to be a service dog. So thank you for the question, Jen, on the lamb. That is awesome. All right. Pause of friendship. Thank you so much. You are fantastic. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the super chat. You're awesome. And I appreciate you very, very much. Do you have any Instagram questions, dear?
It's kind of quiet. I love your earrings a couple times.
Oh, thank you. These are my Anna Clayton wreaths. She just came out with some Christmas wreaths, so I was spicing it up. But yeah. All right. So I'm going back up to some questions. I know I don't have Kyle sitting here talking with me. Carol and Frank Butcher. Is there someone in Florida that you know of that will assist with certification? So there is actually no service dog registry. I'm really glad you brought this up because a service dog registry does not exist on the national ADA government level. Basically, it's a farce. We did get an identification card through Theodore's dog training company because I like to have it just in case people aren't allowed to ask for it, but I just like it to be there because it's less stress and less anxiety on me if I have his ID card. I will send you guys the information. All American Dog Training is who we went through for Theodore. They're based out of the Tampa, Florida area. Amazing, wonderful. I mean, they're so helpful. Fantastic. So definitely I will email you that info. Valerie says, I have a psychiatric service dog that's a Chihuahua Corgi mix. She is extremely smart. You know, totally. I mean, any breed can be a service dog. It's not limited to just golden retrievers and Labradors. Bless both of their hearts, but they can tend to be a little do. I prefer Theodore because for what I need, he is so intuitive, really smart, and just gets me. CSI Crowdsource Illuminations. Boxer dogs are wonderful service dogs. They are very clean and extremely aware of their human. My service dog is a boxer, so I'm partial. I think everybody, when they have a service dog, they're like, my breed is awesome. They're like, no, my breed is awesome. Honestly, I think all of them are amazing. I was a dog groomer for 15 years, so I'm pretty partial to a lot of the breeds. I love them. All right. Wonderful Revolution says everyone hit the like button, show some love, and please keep your comments coming. Sam, my nephew Sam, we're actually here visiting them in Tennessee, and his birthday is Monday. So happy early birthday, Sam. I cannot wait to celebrate with you. And then we've got another super chat. Fuzzy Doxy. Oh, sorry. Thank you so much just for being a good puppy mommy. I'm a pretty good puppy mommy. What do you think, Theodore? Am I good? Kind of? He's like, she's all right. But thank you so much, Fuzzy Doxy. I think it's time I played one of those videos because we've gotten a bunch of super chats and I got to show some love. Oh, I don't have any. We'll do
Thank you for the super chat. 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 Woo!
Aw, thank you so much, Fuzzy Doxy. You are awesome. Ed Potke says, I got bit by a Chihuahua service dog. Never pet a service dog. No, definitely not. That is why I've got so many times on Theodore's vest do not pet, do not distract, do not touch, because you're catching them off guard. And, you know, they're protecting their owner. So there's no telling what task that dog is to perform. And so it can startle them. They can be protecting their owner. So always, always, always never pet a service dog. The best thing to do is just pretend like they are not there. Because there's something I do want to touch on is, okay, cool, Jen. Why shouldn't I pet a service dog? As Theodore's like,
And he's fell out.
I know. Why shouldn't I pet a service dog? Well, because that particular service dog is working for its handler. It's listening and feeling for cues. Because like Theodore, so whenever I'm about to go into a panic attack, my pheromones start going up. And Theodore and other dogs as well can sense when my pheromones go up, and then he knows to automatically leap into action and do what he's supposed to do. So if you distract a service dog, that means they could miss a very important cue that they needed for their handler. And so that's why it's really important to never distract a service dog. I know kids can be very curious. And so my best advice is to kind of walk past the service dog. And when you get to a safe spot, bend down and, you know, talk to your child about the service dog. And if they're like, oh, why can't we pet him? Say, well, he's working. We can't distract him. You know, have that conversation after the service dog has already passed. Because some handlers are very nervous. They don't want to talk to other people. They don't have, you know, the courage to talk to other people about their dog. So it's always best to do it after they walked by. Am I being too long-winded, honey?
No,
he's just smiling. He's my producer for the night. If we can get a round of applause for Kyle back here. Jessica says, do you have to have papers saying he is certified? No, you do not. You do not have to present any papers. There's no such thing as certification. But like I said, I do have that ID from our trainer. So you can have that. But nothing is actually required. You do not have to show any paperwork. You do not have to give them any information. Nada. Because of the ADA, they protect you and they protect your rights so that you don't have to tell people random facts about your medical history. So no, there's no such thing as certification that you have to show. Amber E has a great question. At what age did the actual service training begin with Theodore? So what we did with Theodore, because he was 8 weeks old when I got him, and we started him in what's called basic training. I knew that he was going to be my service dog. And so we started with basic. Then we went to advanced. Then we went to off leash. And then we went ahead and did his service training. Then we did his public access training. So you need to do public access for your service dog. That way, when they are in public places, they know how to behave. They know how to not go to the bathroom in the stores, so on and so forth. So I don't know, probably 9 months, 9, 10, 11. So 9 to 12 months, we worked on service dog training and public access. So he did a lot of stuff. Theodore, not tooting his own horn here, he was pretty smart and he caught on really, really quickly. So it was easy for him to catch things. Valerie says, I have a decal on my car that says do not separate from handler. That is awesome. Amazing. Say that you've got to ride in an ambulance. Heaven forbid something happens. You've got to ride in an ambulance. The ambulance needs to make accommodations for your service dog. If it's too crowded in the ambulance needs to make accommodations for your service dog to make it to the hospital when you make it to the hospital. And when you get to the hospital, the places that the service dog may be asked not to come into is burn units and the ICU. Those are both very sterile environments, but a service dog can be with you during your hospital stay. If you cannot care for your service dog while you're in the hospital needs to make accommodations. You also need to reach out to whoever you can to come visit you, relieve the service dog. I would say twice a day. They need to go out and go potty. But the service dog is 100% allowed to accompany you to the hospital. Mary Ann K wants to know, how many vests does Theodore have? Too many vests. He's got This one, he has an office one. He has a couple different themed ones that I had made. And all of his patches are sewn on, and it's a mesh backing. So it's nice and cool underneath the vest, so it's not making him, get too hot. So he has entirely too many. Let me see. We have got Mama Ray. My daughter has DS and has onset seizures. She takes forever to warm up to an animal, but once she does, it's forever love. In your opinion, how would her hesitation work with service dog training? Well, in that situation, I would suggest, this is me, this isn't a dog trainer, this is just me, I would suggest getting a puppy. So the puppy can grow up with her and she can be right there with the training. So once they've made that bond, okay, this is the dog, this is ours. And then you can go ahead with the training. And if she's got that bond, she's going to want to be training with them. And quite honestly, I think that's the best way to do it, in my opinion. Stacy has a great question. What kind of treats do you give the dogs for rewards? So we don't do treat rewards for service dog training. It is just praise, because when Theodore is working, he does not get any food. Say we're at Disney. This is the one time he will get food. Say we're at Disney for the entire day, and it's going to be a long freaking day, like 8 to 10 hours. He's going to be hungry. Disney actually does service dog food, which is whole grain rice and I think grilled chicken with like no spices and stuff. So what I will do for Theodore is I will take his vest off while he's under the table. He is allowed to eat his food. Then once he's done, I put his vest back on. The reason for this is because Theodore knows the difference between working and non-working. And when he is working, he knows he is not getting food. He is not trying to sneak things under the table. Like when we're out to eat and Theodore's under the table, if food drops on the floor, he knows not to go eat it, because that is not what he is doing. He is in work mode. He is not in eat mode. So that's why he's like over here just spread out like a goober. So that is why we do no treat-based service training, because it's only praise, because you want them to listen to voice commands rather than to food. But that is an awesome question. Thank you. Jenn Ferrer says, I feel like people don't read my dog's patches, LOL. I have the big red one on the back of your vest. They don't read mine either. I have it on there in very big, bold print, not to pet them. And I think it's where I've had to develop a lot of patience, because people are like, oh, can I pet your dog? Nope, I'm sorry, he's working. And you'll always get that. Like, people see a cute dog, they want to pet it. It is frustrating. It really is. But I have Kyle there with me too. And so if I can't say it first, he'll be like, nope, he's working. Sorry, can't pet him. Because I think people just genuinely don't know. And that's a lot of the reason why I wanted to do this live, because we talk about this. Like, I want to provide a safe space for people to ask those types of questions and say, hey, why don't I pet a service dog? So that kind of answers that. Do we have any Instagram or YouTube?
What kind of work dog is he? Somebody asked.
So Theodore is, for my PTSD, he does, the task that he performs for me is called DPT, which is deep pressure therapy. But there's many other tasks, like service dogs can be trained for people with anxiety, depression, to go get their medication and bring it to them, to remind them of their medication. So there's a lot of ways that you can do a psychiatric service dog, which is vastly different than an emotional support animal. Let's see. Aw, Angry Irishman, how are you? We are good. Kyle's behind the scenes. Can you like wave your hand or stick something? Yep, there's Kyle right there. Our setup is a bit crazy right now. We have a ladder that we're working on.
And we have 2 mounts hanging 2 cell phones from it.
Valerie says, if it'll load, I get so many people begging to pet mine. It's hard to say no. It really is. Like, when we're in a big place, a big city, a crowded area, so many people want to pet him. And like, it breaks my heart. But if I can't let other people pet him, because then it distracts him from what he's doing for me. So I feel that 100%. Let me see. Angel, this is an awesome question. I work in healthcare, so I see a lot of service dogs, and they are all amazing. Does Theodore act different with his vest on versus off? Does he get distracted by the kids? So when he has his vest on, if the kids are with me, hi, Kevin. If the kids are with me, I allow the kids to pet Theodore. He actually works really well with Eli because Eli's got a lot of emotions and sometimes gets upset very easy. And so Theodore's able to calm him down. When he has his vest off, sometimes he's an idiot. And that's just, it is what it is, because he knows the difference between, Kevin, if you knock this over, so help me.
He wants to get down.
So, see, I've lost my dang train of thought because I got a Labradoodle that's a goober. But Theodore, when his vest is off, he knows he's off duty. He gets to be a regular dog. He gets to go to dog parks, gets to do like all the dog stuff. But when I say you ready to work, he gets his, he's already picking his head up. He's like, what, work, huh? So his tail will start wagging. He'll start spinning in circles because he genuinely loves to work. Let me see.
Are you guys camping through the winter? Yeah, I mean, we live full time in the bus. We'll be spending majority of the winter in Florida. Said my friend's lead dog acts like a puppy until her vest is on, then it's all business.
Yep, exactly. Like they know, like people, when they see us in person, like Jed and Sandy from Wonderful Revolution, this dog is a different dog when he has his vest on. Like he is just prim and proper. He knows his things, and he just gets it. Julie, this is a great question. A business is not allowed to ask for proof of service. A friend had her service dog vest, but it didn't have paperwork, refused entry. No, they are not allowed to ask for proof of service. There is 2 questions they are allowed to ask you. The first question is this a service dog? Yes. Okay. The second question is, what task does this dog perform? So I say DPT, deep pressure therapy. You do not have to say your disability. You do not have to demonstrate what the dog does. If you are refused service, you are absolutely encouraged to report that business because they are not allowed to refuse you. Anywhere that is a public place where the public is allowed to go, your service dog must be granted access unless it is a burn unit or ICU. Those are the only 2. Now, if the dog is misbehaving, because here's the thing, y'all. Service dogs are considered medical equipment, yes. However, they're dogs. They're going to mess up, and they're always training. Like, there's not a moment where they're in new stuff all the time, and you've got to train for that. So if a dog makes a mistake, as long as that handler corrects the dog and gets the dog back in line, there's no problem. So no, your friend should have not been refused entry. We've had it happen a couple times because people genuinely don't know the service dog laws. So you do not have to show papers. You do not have to show identification, nothing. The only 2 things they are allowed to ask you is this a service dog? And what tasks do they perform? That is it. I got a super chat. Let me get down here to the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. All right. Hang on, I'm coming. Who came up with Theodore's cool name? Did I come up with Theodore?
I think I like Teddy and you like Theodore. And
yep, it just kind of, Kyle liked Teddy. I like Theodore because Teddy is slightly overused.
I like Chewy also because at the time he was a little darker and he looked like a Wookiee.
Yeah, Kyle liked Chewy, but we ended up coming up with Theodore. So that's his name. I know, Theodore Montgomery Bethune. We wanted him to be like distinguished, you know? Let me see. Oh, there is another super chat. Thank you so much, VM. Kyle's dancing behind the sideline. So on Sunday, when we go live, you need to tell Kyle I want him to show this much enthusiasm on Sunday. Love you guys. Buy the fur babies some treats. I absolutely will. They will be super, super excited.
We go through a lot of kibble with 4 dogs. So.
We go through a ton of kibble. Let me see. Pause of Friendship says, I have a sign I put on my window that says the car is running, the AC or heat is on, and he's listening to AC/DC. Do not break my window. I love that. Let me see. Coming up with it's coming, Ashley. Can your service dog also be in the room while you're in surgery room about to have surgery then? A sweet little face would be better to see than a doctor's. Honestly, I'm going to tell you, I don't know. I know that your service dog can be with someone else while you are in surgery. So your dog could say goodbye to you, roll you off. They could roll you off into the hospital room, but I do believe it's up to hospital discretion whether they will allow him in the operating room or not. Chances are it's a not, because you're not going to be conscious. He's not going to be under your control. So the best thing would be to leave him with someone in the waiting room, and then, have someone, handle him or her. And then after you wake up, they can absolutely, go to your room and see you. But I think it's more so up to the hospital. VM says, love you guys. Buy the fur baby some treats. Miss Smitty says, does Theodore wear his vest at night? No, he doesn't. He knows his job in the bus. A lot of the reason why I put his vest on him during the day is because I want him to know he's working, especially if we're out somewhere. Like if we're in the bus and I need him, I just call him and he comes. But if we're out somewhere, I use his vest to distinguish him, to let him know that he is working, and to put him on his best behavior while we're out in public, so he knows he's got a job to do. But thank you so much for the super chat. You are awesome. Let me see. I want to get to as many comments as I can. Valerie says they are still dogs and they still love to be goobers. Absolutely. They're going to mess up. They're going to have problems. So case in point, we were in Chicago, and poodles, if you don't know, were originally bred to be hunters. They are hunting dogs, and he does not like birds. Not a fan. If his vest is not on, he's going to go chase some birds if he has the opportunity. Well, we're in Chicago, and all of a sudden, this car pulls up in the middle of the roadway, puts its hazard lights on, opens the trunk, and gets out a 50-pound bag of birdseed. And we're waiting, like we're trying to walk by. We're by the Eternal Flame. We're taking pictures. Well, this man, bless his little heart, he grabs the birdseed and starts dumping it out all over the sidewalk. Now, Theodore has his vest on. He knows that he cannot do anything. He can't make a peep, but he's just sitting there like shaking, because there's thousands of pigeons that have now landed about 15 feet from Theodore. And so he was not happy about this, but you know what? He didn't bark. He didn't try to eat them. He didn't move out of his sit-stay. And we were able to navigate around the pigeons. But there's always going to be times like that where there's moments where they've never been in that situation before. And it's a little scary for them, quite honestly. So he did pretty darn good.
What are the regulations as far as flying?
So they've actually kind of changed it recently, because I had to fly recently. You used to have a vet certification. You had to take them to the vet. The vet had to say that they were a service dog, and that's what you presented to the airline. And each airline is different. So I suggest whatever airline you're going to fly, look up their service dog requirements before you board, because they range in what they want you to have. And so for Theodore, the last time I had to fly was a couple months ago, and I went to a vet in North Dakota, made sure I got the paperwork signed. Even though Delta said they didn't need to have it, I am like better safe than sorry. And that's all I had to have. You just have to fill out an online form, rabies vaccination date, veterinarian. I do believe I had to put the training, how he was trained. And that's really it. That's all you have to have. He sat at my feet. He curls up in a little ball at my feet. And that's all we had to do. Flying is much less painless than what people think that it is. Ed says, in New York, you can't deny access to service dogs. No, you can't. Actually, nationally, you cannot deny access to a service dog in any public place where their handler is allowed to go. Pat McCoy says, great info on service dogs. Thank you, Pat McCoy. I try. I've been around the block a few times. Flo wants to know, are Eloise and Kevin service animals as well? What breed are all the dogs and how much do they weigh? Love your family. Well, we love you, Flo. Kevin did go through service dog training, but, well, He's a goober. And turned out he needed more emotional support than he provided. So we had gotten him trained just as a backup for Theodore, because Theodore started to have a little bit of hip problems. Thank goodness they went away. He's good. But Kevin is just Kevin. Eloise, no, Eloise is never going to be a service dog. Bless her heart. She's our other standard poodle. Kevin's a Labradoodle. And then Chico is a Chihuahua, and I don't know where he is right now, but he's somewhere around here. Let me see. Do you have another one for me?
I don't actually.
Oh, wow.
What?
Let me see. CBB says it has become very confusing with internet papers and emotional therapy, all very different from ADA service dogs. They are very, very different, and it is so confusing what you can and can't do. The best thing that I can say is use the ADA website as a guide and a reference, because it spells it out very, very clear as to what a service dog is and what they do. Let me see. Caitlin says, hey, Jen, I have a crazy Yorkie. Have you ever heard of a Yorkie as a service dog? I can't even imagine. I've heard of a Dachshund. I haven't seen a Yorkie. I have seen a Chihuahua. But it really just depends on the dog and that dog's ability to be a service dog. And so that's why having an evaluation from a trainer comes in really, really handy. But I haven't personally seen a Yorkie. Let's see. Hi from Arizona. Well, hello. My husband was asking about people who abuse the service animal designation. Do you ever witness it? And what is your response? You know, there's always going to be people that abuse everything. You know, there's people that's going to push the rules to the limits. There's people that want, want their dog to be able to go with them everywhere. Like, I get it. But we haven't seen it a lot. There's been, maybe I can count on one hand in 3 years of the time that we've actually seen a fake service dog, because I don't try to judge other people. The way that you can spot, say in a restaurant, the best way to spot a fake service dog is if the person is letting other people pet their dog, if they're feeding their dog from the table, if the dog is barking, being disruptive, getting up, getting down. The dog, like whenever you're checking out at Walmart, your dog should be in a downstay on the floor, unless it's a service dog that you're putting in like a carrier. The dog should not be in the cart. You can hold your service dog if it's a smaller one, but generally most big service dogs should be in a downstay on the floor, because that is the best controlled position if you are distracted doing something. So it's pretty easy to spot the fake ones, like Kevin. It's pretty easy to spot the fake ones and what they're doing and stuff. And you can report it to the store manager. If there's a dog, if a dog is defecating or urinating on the floor, that's a big no-no. Yes, service dogs will have accidents, but that dog should be public access trained. So I hope that answers it a little bit. Let's see. Valerie says they can't be with you in the OR. At least that's what my doctor said. Yeah. Again, up to the hospital, but primarily the service dogs are not allowed in the operating room because the doctors already have enough going on.
It's sterile.
And it's sterile as well. So yeah, totally see that. But I wish it was all right. I'm helping. Linda says, I was refused once with my service animal because they wanted to see her vaccination papers. And as soon as I brought them to her with the dog, they allowed her in. They're not even allowed to ask for that. They cannot ask for anything. There's 2 questions they can ask. Is this a service animal? And what tasks do they perform? That is it. If they ask you anything else than that, you are more than welcome to bring up the ADA website and say, here you go. This is a website with all the rules on it straight from the ADA. Because I am big about education. I don't get pissy. I don't get bitchy at people. Like, I literally just explain, hey, listen, you may not understand. It's cool. Been through this a million times. Like, when I went to LaGuardia Airport not that long ago, it was not a good day. I don't like flying. And I called my Uber and I'm standing outside. And Theodore is in a downstay at my feet. And the Uber pulls up. And the Uber says, that dog's not getting in my car. I was like, okay, no problem. He's a service dog, so he doesn't apply to the pet rules. And he was like, no, that dog's not coming in. And I was like, no, you can't deny me. And there's a group of people standing off to the right. And, you know, once again, the driver's like, and he like floors it and leaves me standing there. And these people are laughing at me. I'm already having a panic attack. I'm crying. We have to stop what we're doing, go back over to like a corner, and he has to do DPT on me. I have Kyle on the phone. I'm like, I don't know what to do. And like, I'm in a big city by myself. And it was not good. But we ended up reporting that Uber driver to Uber. And so they got in some big trouble for denying me. The next Uber came, picked me up. It was all good. But there's been so many times where I've been discriminated against, told I wasn't going in somewhere. The fact that like Kyle will walk behind me when we're somewhere, and he is the one that gets all the stares, all the looks, all the comments, and all that. I just put blinders on and I just go about my day.
A good piece of advice, though, is to save yourself from some of that heartache with Ubers and rideshare programs. Is as soon as the driver accepts the call, you know, send them a text. Hey, I have a service dog, just giving you a heads up, just to let you know. That way, at that point, they'll know, they'll expect it. They'll either one, cancel the ride, or two, say, okay, no problem. You know, it's a good practice to do, just to kind of save you some of that frustration, because it does happen. And honestly, I think that's been the most discriminatory area we've dealt with a service dog.
Mm-hmm. Linda Smith says, I was refused once with my service animal because they wanted to see, when going to the hospital, you have to have your current shot records in order for the dog to be in the hospital with you, or proof that he's up to date on his vaccination. I've actually never been asked. I've had to go to the emergency room and had Theodore with me before. The ADA website says that, you know, your dog does need to be up to date with its vaccines, but it does not require you to show proof of vaccine. So I think I'm going to look into that a little more, just to make sure. But they're not allowed to ask you for really anything at all. Let me see. I'm getting them. Do you have any up there? You've got some bugs over there.
These flies are driving me nuts. No, it's pretty quiet up here for the most part.
Angry Irishman wants to know, I need help with Layla, my husky. I can't keep her hair fluffy like I want it. Can you please tell me how to make my husky's hair model and magazine worthy? Honestly, twice a year, take her into a professional, get the Furminator, like a de-shedding package done on her, and it will do wonders. As long as they do it properly, it will do some wonders.
Will it be wonderful?
It'll be wonderful.
Really?
It is what it is. It says, thank you so much for sharing your experience and knowledge. Very informative and interesting. Would you do a homeschool topic as well? That's all Kyle's department. So that'll be Kyle's live that he's got to do. What say you back there?
I'm definitely not educated enough on that topic.
I do have some links for you. We do unschooling. There's another family that's done some great lives, like Q&A lives on unschooling. So email Kyle at redwhiteandbethune.com, and then I'll have him send those, have them to you. Let's see. It's taking a minute to load. Sly says, have you had any problems when you have your service dog trained to be on their place? Example, like blanket to stay on, that people walk by and they bark. How do you deal with that? So Theodore, pretty much, like, we do a lot of exercises usually just to keep him in tip-top shape. Where I'll put him in a down stay and I walk about 20 feet away, and then he is focused on me. The best thing you do is every time they do it, correct them. Either, you know, snap your fingers as a no, or have a very long leash to where you can kind of pull it to correct them that no, we're not going to bark at anybody else. It's just one of those things that you've got to kind of correct it. If they bark, no. And then they focus back onto you. Do it as much as you can. Take them everywhere until they get over that barking. And that way they're going to get a little more acclimated to it. And I hope that answers a little bit of your question. Bert from New Jersey. In my experience working for an airline, we had extensive training about service dogs. Do you run into issues in public about the difference between service dogs and emotional support animals? Have we run into any issues lately?
No, especially like the big cities seem to be, they seem to be well trained, and much more used to it. Once the smaller communities, you get a lot more stares and stuff. I mean, not really. The biggest, like I said, the biggest one that I've noticed is ride sharing platforms.
Yeah, Uber is the one that we've had the most issues with. But usually, like, Theodore is just, I'm bragging on you, so don't screw this up. Really good. Like, he's a pro at going out in public and doing his thing. So we don't have a whole lot of problems with him. But like I said earlier, these dogs are considered medical equipment, but at the same time, they're dogs and they're going to mess up and they're going to do dumb things. I'll even share a story with you guys about my dumb dog and what he did. So we're in Disney. To go to Disney, like, I had to bring Theodore with me, especially after our accident. And so, bless his little heart, I knew he had to potty. I knew he did. But Disney has specific potty areas where they can go. And I'm rushing because a parade is going on. I'm trying to get up to Main Street, USA, to be able to go around to the potty area. And so while the parade's going on, you can't cut across the road. I'm trying to cut through the Emporium. And like all of a sudden, the 3 kids and Kyle with me, and Theodore just starts pooping in the middle of the Emporium. And it was the worst because Kyle can't deal with like public embarrassment. So he beelines off into like the clothing department, leaves me there with Theodore trying to get a bag, clean it up, wrangle my 3 children, and get out of there so Theodore could finish pottying outside. So those moments happen. They totally do. You take them with stride because dogs aren't perfect. They're going to have problems. And I knew he had to go potty and I'm trying to get him to where he needs to go. So that's my embarrassing story for the day. Let me see. Ashley says, I feel like it made me traumatic for the service dog to see their owner being put under anesthesia in the OR, knowing that they can't help their owner. Absolutely. I mean, it's just your dog is connected to you. And if something is going on with you, they feel like they need to perform their task to make you better. And it could absolutely distract. I think the number one thing is a sterile environment. That's pretty much what it is. Let's see. Hang on. SD Robinson wants to know, are they allowed to fly on an airplane for free? Yes. However, as long as they either sit in your lap or sit at your feet. Say you have a St. Bernard. Are you like not comfortable here? Say you have a St. Bernard service dog and you need that extra seat. You will have to buy the extra seat for the legroom. I book first class because that's where you get the most legroom and Theodore can curl right up.
Oh, is that
now,
why you book first class?
Yeah, that's why I book first class. It's totally for Theodore. But so if you book like in business class or anything back there, just be mindful that laying on their feet. Now, Kyle and I have flown before in coach or business class, something like that, where we had 2 seats and Theodore kind of laid across both of our feet. So you have to keep your dog in mind. If you've got a very big service dog, you're probably going to have to book the 2 seats in order for them to fit. But yeah, Theodore fits right at the bottom. Let's see. It's sad to me that you have to explain your service dog on top of the stress you need the support dog for. Absolutely. It's hard when you are in public and like say you're in a crowded restaurant, and this has happened to us before. We've been denied service and you're in a crowded room. People are staring at you like you're already panicking, and it's tough. And so I do wish more business owners, more people knew about the service dog regulations, but it's not up to everybody else. It's up to me to know them because he's my service dog. And so for any of my disabilities that I have, I don't think it's up to other people to know about them. It's up to me to know about them and be able to educate them on it. Let me see. Jan says, you can always get Kyle a service husband vest. That would be super cute. I kind of like that. Oh, Wonderful Revolution, who were also traveling ER nurses, you guys. The best in the business, quite frankly. Waiting for it to pop up. We never asked for vaccination records for service animals in any of the ERs we worked in. Yeah, you're not allowed to. You know, you can't. And with ADA law, there's 2 questions they can ask. Jessica, great question. Can you have more than one service animal? You absolutely can. Say you are a diabetic and you also have seizures. One service dog could be for diabetes. One could be for the seizures. Now, it gets a little tricky, and the frequently asked questions on the ADA website can definitely answer more to this. But some of the businesses, if they can't make accommodations for 2 dogs, say only 1 dog fits under the table, then they are allowed to ask you to leave 1 dog outside if you can, or with somebody else. But for the most part, if they can both fit under the table, they have to be accommodated in there. Melissa McCarthy says, thank goodness you reported the evil Uber driver who's probably afraid of Theodore. He's really scary looking. I know. He's really ferocious here. This one. Yeah, let me see. I'm coming. Any more questions up there?
No, just some comments.
What's a comment? Let me know.
You guys are awesome.
Aw, thank you. We think you're awesome.
A beautiful family.
We try. Actually, Melissa McCarthy, I do want to answer this one. Does Theodore go on rides? Splash Mountain, Space Mountain, I can see it now. So at Disney is one of the most allergy, disability, and dog-friendly or service dog-friendly places ever. Theodore can ride any ride with me that does not have a height restriction. So he's been on Pirates of the Caribbean. He's been on Dumbo. He's been on Living with the Land. He's been on Small World. Speedway. Oh, that was so freaking cute. I'm sorry. It was really cute. He got to ride on Speedway. But yes, the dogs can go with you at Disney. And the cool thing is that any ride that does have a height restriction on it, they have a kennel right at the ride that you can leave your service dog in order for you to go ride the ride. A cast member stands with your service dog, and then when you get off the ride, you pick them up and you go. So Disney is one of the most friendly places that you can take them.
TikTok, do you think service dogs get stressed sometimes? Constantly monitoring their owner.
Theodore doesn't really. I mean, can you think of a time that he's gotten?
I mean, he was been doing that since he was a baby. You know, he enjoys it.
Honestly, dogs love to work. Like service dogs, when they are trained for this, like he gets so excited to put his he's like, all right, let's go. He gets so excited to put his vest on and to go to work because dogs want a purpose. I mean, dogs used to have a purpose besides companionship. There's working dogs and sporting dogs, and so you're gonna lay over there.
Yep, I'm tired.
All right. He's like, I'm done with the camera. But there is so many uses, and they feel good when they're working because you give them a purpose. John Sullivan says, do you have to pay for vaccinations for your dogs? When we lived in Hillsborough County, we had to pay for the vaccination, but we didn't have to pay for the tag, the rabies tag that we got. But yes, we do have to pay for the vaccinations for our dogs. It depends on the county you live in, but mostly, yes, you have to pay for your vet bills and all that stuff. Jen says, it's upsetting when people draw attention to service dogs and handlers too. I experienced 3 people on separate occasions in one shopping trip. They were pointing and staring at us. I broke down. It's hard. I will tell you right now, it took a lot of time, probably a year of having him for me to put blinders on. I don't even notice the people around me. Like, thank goodness I have Kyle because he keeps us very safe and spatially aware of things. But I don't even look anymore. I don't. Like with Theodore being a poodle, and if he's had a bath and is like looking really cute, yeah. If he's had a bath and is looking really cute, people are pointing all the time like, it's a poodle! Look at the poodle! You know, you're always going to have that, and it's hard when you're a handler. That's why I don't always recommend service dogs to some people, because if they can't handle that, that's really hard to deal with on a daily basis. Any other thing?
I answered one. It was about no. You're good.
Oh, okay.
You might
Okay.
want-
I'm working. All right. Nick Panda says, are the laws for service animals all the same if you go state to state or abroad? So abroad is very different. You need to look at what the country's laws are. It's a reason why we haven't taken Theodore on a cruise yet, because they require extra vaccinations. And I don't want to like dope him up with a bunch of vaccinations. But in the US, all of the laws are the same. They are not state to state. They are federal laws. The ADA is a federal website, and so the states have to abide by what the federal guidelines are.
Rena Service Poodle says, I have a poodle diabetic alert service dog. I love poodles.
Ah, they're pretty cool. I like this one, huh? Huh, Fifi. You need a bath. You need Aunt Shannon to let me bring you in.
They're all past due for a good bath.
Hang on, I'm getting to questions, y'all. Oh, Allison wants to know, how did you and Kyle meet? I need the love story details. Why don't you talk loud and tell them?
We met on Match.com in 2006. I mean, we were doing this before it was even a thing, really. It was like just starting up. No Tinder, no Bubble or Grinder or any of those other ones.
No, none of those.
Yeah, Dr. Phil's Match.com, and I think you had one called eHarmony. I don't even know if they're still around. But yeah, that's the romantic story.
Yep, it's a really romantic story, y'all. Ashley also says, no one can even talk about being allergic to your service animal, Jen, because poodles are hypoallergenic. True, but that's a really good point. I'm glad that you brought that up, because even if a person is allergic to dogs, and I know it sounds kind of unfair because you've got two different disabilities here, but if there was someone allergic to dogs, they can be asked to be seated as far away from you as possible, but a restaurant cannot deny you, or anywhere cannot deny you, because someone is allergic to dogs.
Question, is Theodore a program dog? I'm not sure what that means.
Did he come out of a program? No. We trained him with a trainer that came to us and worked with us for about a year from start to finish. So he didn't come out of like a service dog training program, because those are really expensive.
What you having to drink there tonight?
I'm having my Delmonico winery.
Oh.
We had a date night the other night, y'all. And if you do have some questions, please put them in here. I still have a little bit of time. I'm going to answer them and get to as many as I can. Let me make, how did you frame Theodore? How do you, we read that you need a licensed mental health professional to write a recommendation prescription for one. Technically, you don't. If you do owner trained, you do not need that. The only time that you're going to need that is if you go to a training company like I did with Theodore. The reason why they ask for it is so that they know you truly need a service dog. And if you go to a larger program training company, they will ask for it because they need to know that you do need a service dog. If you're doing owner trained service dogs, you don't need that at all. There's so many different disabilities that dogs can truly help for. Did you have another question? Or are you just reading it?
Just reading.
Susan says, are there service dogs that can help with severe hormonal issues and other chemical fluctuations? There is. I mean, the possibilities are endless when it comes to dogs because they go off of scent and energy. You know, they can detect electronic vibrations. They can detect pheromones. They can detect so many things that can be helpful. And what I would suggest is reaching out to a local training company and seeing, you know, different service dog trainers in your area, and they can point you in the right direction, usually as to what you need to do. I'm sorry, Diane, I didn't mean to bypass your question. I got a bunch of them. You bypassed my question. What do you know about service dogs and hotel room stays? I know a lot, actually. We've done a lot of them. So service hotels cannot deny you to stay there. Even if it's a non-pet friendly hotel, they have to allow your service dog in. They cannot charge you a cleaning fee. Now, if your dog does destroy the hotel room, they are absolutely entitled to charge you a cleaning fee. They cannot charge you a pet deposit. They cannot charge you a pet fee. You don't even have to tell them that you have a service dog at the time of booking. You do not have to say I have a service dog, because that is part of the ADA. You don't have to let anybody know that you have a service dog. So you can absolutely take them to hotels. Airbnb is one. What's the other one?
You say that, but I feel like it's a good practice to let them know, because a lot of places like Disney, they have procedures in place, like things they'll do, rooms they'll try to accommodate you better on a certain floor, accommodate you closer to like the entrance exit doors. So I definitely recommend, like I said, calling ahead of time. Most hotels, they are aware of the laws.
Yeah.
They face it every day. And a lot of times they do have procedure to, offer assistance and, make your stay a little easier.
They do appreciate the calling ahead. Now, if they deny you when you call ahead, you can absolutely report them. I would suggest talking to the manager, general manager, sending over the ADA website for them, because truth be told, they don't want to get in trouble that way. They do not want to have a case brought against them that's against the American Disabilities Act. And so we usually call ahead just to say, but legally speaking, you do not have to. You don't have to call ahead. So I hope that answers your question. Smee, you two are a lovely match. Thank you. I kind of like this guy, or me and Kyle, or me and Theodore, or
I think it's so like you and Theodore.
All of us. We're all a good match, I would say. Valerie says, I was denied treatment by a doctor because of my service dog once. I was irate. He has other docs in his practice, so shouldn't he have offered to have another doctor treat me? Yes, absolutely. If he didn't want to treat you, it was his responsibility to make other accommodations within his practice to have you treated. So that 100% should have never happened. Illegal. You have to be seen. And so he should have made accommodations for that. Sly says, overseas, they have them automatically quarantined and you have to pay for it. Varies for how long. Yeah, we haven't traveled overseas. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But I do know that you're subject to those laws when you go over there, which is a lot of the reason why we haven't brought Theodore on a cruise, because, there's a lot of extra vaccines that you have to get and whatnot. And it wasn't worth it for us. Allison says, how did you get Theodore certified to be a service dog? So there's really no certification. They do have to be public access trained to be able to go into stores and out in public and stuff. But I went through a local company called All American Dog Training that was local to Tampa, Florida. They came out for a year and worked with us for the whole time. We worked on several different aspects of training, doing like the DPT and all that good stuff. So that is how we got Theodore trained.
I know you already answered this, but on TikTok, Tori West says, what is the best service dog?
It just depends. It depends on your needs, what your disability is, what is the task that they're going to have to perform. I mean, I'm partial to poodles, but people that have a Labrador are partial to Labradors. So it's all depending on what task you need them to perform for you.
I will say, having a poodle, you get a lot more attention when you go out in public, compared to a lab or a golden retriever. So if that's an issue and something you're worried about, definitely consider that as, in your decision making.
Veiled Innocence says, was it pricey to hire a trainer? Honestly, not. It was a fraction of the cost of what a program dog would have been. And they provided me with such confidence to be able to train Theodore, work with him in public, gave me the confidence to have him as a service dog. I highly recommend it. That is my favorite option, probably because I've done it and it works so well. But different training companies in your area will be able to give you advice on if they can do it or if they can refer you to somebody else that can help you train. That's going to be from anywhere between $1,000 to $5,000 for the whole thing. Maybe more, maybe less. It just depends on the area that you are in.
A good question here. I don't know if you're going to even know the answer to it. Can you claim a service dog and the expenses to care for the dog on your taxes?
You may not. I do know that you cannot claim them on your
Like a
taxes.
kid or anything.
No, you can't. You can't claim them as a kid. I know that you
we
cannot do
banking.
that. I mean, yeah, we're doing good.
For depression and anxiety, an ESA or a service dog?
Service dog. Go full service. Train them to do a task for you. Train them to do deep pressure therapy. Train them to remind you to take your medicine. Go for a service dog because your service dog can accompany you in public. An ESA cannot accompany you in public. So for those anxiety attacks and the panic attacks that I have, Theodore becomes that weighted blanket that I need and lays on top of me. Like when I'm driving, if I need him, I put my arm in between the two seats and he puts so much pressure on the crook of my elbow that it grounds me back to what I need to be doing and focusing on the road. So I would suggest if you have an anxiety disorder, 1,000,000% go full service. Let me see. You must get pretty stressful having your husband not being able to handle a week of work. I don't know what you mean by that, but we handle quite a bit. So I guess, I don't know. Let's see. Diana said, thank you bunch for answering my question. I book a hotel room for a living and your answer is over here. Well, you are welcome. I'm sorry we get a lot of questions, so I try to answer as many as I can.
Can you please explain DPT and how that helps you with your anxiety?
Okay, so DPT is deep pressure therapy. And what that is if you've heard of a weighted blanket, what the weighted blanket does is it grounds you. And so Theodore essentially becomes my weighted blanket. And when I'm in a panic attack, it's almost like an out of body experience. You have tunnel vision. Everything kind of goes black. You can't get back to yourself. You can't get back to reality. And so what Theodore does is he will lay on top of me. I'm able to touch him because when you can't get back to reality, when you're having a panic or anxiety attack, touch, sight, smell, all of those things are able to ground you. And so that's what he does. He brings my attention to him and I am able to focus on him and to be able to get out of the panic attack quicker, essentially, is what deep pressure therapy does for me. And Kevin's he's a goober.
Rena's service poodle said, my accountant claimed my service dog on my taxes.
Oh, well, I need to look into that because from what I understood that you could not claim them on your taxes, but maybe you can. All right. So I'm going to look into that. For everything that I knew, you could not claim them on the taxes, but maybe your accountant found a loophole. I kind of like that. Michelle McCarthy says, I met my husband at Pleasure Island in Disney. He tells everyone we met at a bar. I tell everyone we met at Disney. Both stories are true. My version is more pure and wholesome. Who cares about being pure and wholesome? I remember when downtown Disney had Pleasure Island over there.
It's not downtown Disney. Disney Springs.
I know. Valerie says, that's why I carry potty pads with me when traveling. The airports are really great about having potty patches, and Theodore's weird. Like, he only likes to go potty in certain places, and it has to be like real grass, and he has to have bottled water when he travels. Like, he's a mess, but he works really hard. So I give him what he wants. But that's great. You're finding what works for you. Animals are angels. Hi, I'm a new subscriber. Why do you have a service dog? Thank you so much. Susan from Canada, where it's snowing. Ugh, snow. So I have PTSD from our car accident back in 2011 that took the life of our almost 7-year-old son, Ethan. I saw everything happen. And so I'm scarred for life from that. Like, it's not going to get better. And so Theodore, I have severe panic attacks. I have PTSD, and he does DPT to help ground me when I have those attacks. So that's why we have Theodore.
Oh, she said, Rena's service poodle said, because I take her to work, so we claim her on work taxes.
Hey, Theodore comes to work all the time. I need to look into some service dog taxes over here.
Content creator.
He is. Let's see. Amanda reads is, what about taking service dogs to work? You absolutely are 100% permitted to take your service dog to work, and your job needs to make accommodations for you. Just like they make accommodations for every other, disability, they cannot discriminate against you, and your dog has to be allowed to go with you. Now, say you work at a zoo, your dog will not be allowed in certain areas because of they could be prey that your animal is, or your service animal is drawn to, the prey that might be there. So there's different situations with that. But if you work in an office building, 1,000,000% they are allowed to go with you, and they cannot say no to you. Let's see. Diana's dream comments again. I just booked a room today for an autistic son. The mom was trying to book the room for him. After 2 hotels turned his dog away, I was able to book for his 3-week stay. Yeah, those hotels are not allowed to turn him away as long as it is a service dog. They can turn an emotional support animal away, but they are not allowed to turn a service dog away. And if they do, they can be in very big trouble. And
That's a lawsuit waiting to happen.
Yeah, absolutely, they can get sued for that.
You want to take like 2 more and then wrap her up?
Yeah. Dawn says I took mine to class reunion, stayed in a hotel. They told me she was not allowed to stay in the room without me, except even to get ice. That is true. They have to accompany you wherever you go, and your service dog has to be under your control no matter what. So like if we take a vacation somewhere and we stay in a hotel, Theodore has to be with me wherever we go. He is not allowed to stay in the hotel room by himself. Now, if you were to book a pet-friendly room, specifically pet-friendly, you'd be allowed to leave them. But if it's a hotel that doesn't allow dogs anyway, that your service dog has to be with you all the time.
What kind of dog is your service dog? He is a standard poodle. Can you bring him in the shot real quick, maybe? He's
like, I'm working hard.
Gretchen Brown says, where are you traveling next? We're currently in Tennessee. We're going to be making our way down to Florida here in the next couple weeks.
Let's see. What happened when you were giving birth with your dog? Well, luckily, I had all my kids before I got Theodore. So depending on what you would do, if you're giving a natural birth, then they'd be allowed in the room with you. If you have a midwife or something like that, you're at a birthing center, they would be allowed with you. Now, if you were to have an emergency C-section, they would not be allowed in the hospital room. But other than that, they can totally be with you. Nick Panda says, if anything happened to Theo, would you train another dog? My friend's support animal just passed, and she's unsure if she will get one anytime soon. I've often thought about that, and I probably would, because he is just such a lifesaver for me. I absolutely would. I don't know how long it would take for me to want to do that again. Like I don't even want to think about it because I love my little Fifi so much, and he's just such a great working dog. So I think that's a case by case basis and whatever you feel comfortable with. Jennifer Clark says, what about employment and having a service dog? Do companies have requirements for service dogs? They have to allow you to have your service dog with you. Plain and simple. It is anywhere that your dog is allowed to go, you are allowed to go. So obviously, if you're an operating surgeon, you couldn't have your service dog with you. But in most cases, that company has to make provisions and cannot deny you, or else they will be violating the ADA laws.
How many more do you want to take? Take one more?
I'll take a couple more. What you got?
I don't have anything. What about the other pup in the back?
Oh, that's Kevin. He's a goober. Kevin's just a goober.
Kevin's our Labradoodle. He's 2 years, 2.5, about 2.5 now.
He is a goob. That's what he is. I'm coming. I'm getting some. Debbie T says the dog's temperament, willingness to work, and stay on task is most important. Absolutely. And that's why, like I say, get your dog evaluated. If you're thinking about a service dog might be right for your disability, get them evaluated and see if they would be good at listening to commands. If they're bouncing off the walls and are going to require like a lot of training, probably not the best one. But Theodore, he's a smart dog, and his top knot's getting bigger. I'm not going to let him. He's not going to fit through the door with all of this praise that he's getting tonight. He's a mess. All right, let me take another one. Amber E says, I have learned a lot. This has helped me immensely with direction. Thank you. Well, thank you for being here. I am so thankful to all of you that take your time to spend the time with us, hanging out, and all that stuff. Let's see. Sly says there's a place in St. Rosa. They charge $11,000 and they choose if your dog is going to be a service dog and they insist the dog stay at their facility. Yeah, I mean, there's different ways. There's different ways to do it. That's, I'm sure, how they do it there. Would that be the way that I would go? No, because I feel like you have to find what dog fits you. And what dog works with you. And I truly think it's best to have your dog working alongside you so that way you can form that bond together. So that's just me. All right, let me Ed says, can I ask in general what type of PTSD you have? I have PTSD from being an EMT on 9/11. Well, thank you so much for your service. And I know that is I can't even imagine what that has done to you mentally to see that. I got my PTSD when we had a very tragic and horrific car accident killing our 7-year-old son on the way to Disney. I saw the entire thing. I was in the passenger seat and looked back and saw it all, and it was not good. And that has given me night terrors. It's given me PTSD, anxiety disorder, a lot of stuff. And so Theodore is actually able to give me my life back, to let me live a normal life. I'm looking for questions. All right. PTSD. Oh no. Can you qualify? Allison says, are you able to self-train your service animal? I know some airlines ask for companies that train your dog before you fly to weed out emotional support animals. You do not have to go through a company. You can put on that form owner trained, and that is acceptable by the ADA. That is listed on their website as an acceptable form of training. And so I would have that ready whenever you go to fly, is I would make sure that is printed out so they can see directly from the ADA website that yes, it is totally a great form of training them. You can totally do owner trained. John Sullivan says, can you qualify for food stamps for your service dog? I think food stamps are income based. So technically it goes off of your income. I don't know if you're fully disabled, you may be able to. I chose not to do that because I was okay once I got Theodore. I can still do normal stuff with him. So I think it's more of an income or disability thing, and it's a case by case basis. I don't know. I don't know personally, so I don't want to give out too many answers if I don't know. Jen says, is he your first service dog? How old is he? Thank you for sharing about your PTSD. I'm so sorry that happened to you and your family. He is my first service dog, and he just turned 4 last week, November 11th. He turned 4, and he's pretty awesome. SD Robinson wants to know, would Kevin ever be a service dog for your husband? We tried. Kevin's a goober. Bless his heart. He's obedient. He's just a few milk bones short of the whole milk bone box. Jolene says, can you take your service dog on a cruise? Absolutely, you can. Depending on which cruise line that you're wanting to go on, you just have to look up what their service dog regulations are. Usually you got to bring in a little bit of paperwork, and you have to get some extra vaccines depending on what country you are going to. But yes, you can totally do that.
You can utilize the poop deck.
The poop deck, ba-dum-bum. Jessica says, if it's a private area and not public, can someone deny you? Yes, if it is like a person's house and they don't want your dog with you, they can absolutely deny you. But if it is a public place, say like you're going down to the Riverwalk or something, and there's a restaurant there, that restaurant has to allow you to sit inside if you so choose. They cannot deny you service. So I hope that helps. Simply Neen says, Jen, you are so brave and such a great role model for everyone that suffers from PTSD. Keep up the great work and wonderful videos. Thank you so much. I choose to stand up and speak out because I can. And there's a lot of people with invisible disabilities that don't have the ability to speak up. And that's why I do it. I have been blessed with this amazing gift of a mouth that just doesn't stop talking. And I stand up for what I truly believe is right. So for me, it's just something that I feel like I have to do because I have the ability to. How can I get started? Okay, Brittany wants to know, how can I get started for a service dog for my daughter? The best thing is to contact a local training company that is a private trainer that comes out to your house. Find out from them. If they don't do service dog training, they will know someone who does. The trainers have like a national registry with other training companies that do several different things. So my best advice would be go to there, utilize them as a resource, reach out, say, who can I go to for this? And they'll be able to direct you in the right direction. Let me see. Linda says, depending on the state, I had the rental car company charge me $185 to clean the car that I had my dog in. Yeah, they're not allowed to do that. I mean, if your dog does make a total mess or chews up the seats or something like that, they are entitled to do that to recoup some money. But just to charge you because it's a dog, they are not allowed to do that. And they're opening themselves up with a lawsuit. So Allison says, I always wondered about traveling to Hawaii with a service animal because of their quarantine laws for regular dogs. Even though it's the U.S., what do they have to do for service animals? I'm not 100% sure on that, but I know Hawaii is one of the U.S. states, and so they apply to federal laws as well. I wouldn't guess that you would have to quarantine with a service animal, but I would have to do some more research on that because I don't know. Wonderful Revolution says, hit the like button. We would love for you to hit the like button. We enjoy that. It does good with us. Let's see. Nancy says, hi, Jenn and Kyle. Just got in from the grocery store and a bagger had his service dog lying next to him while he worked. Oh, that's so awesome. Grocery stores are really fantastic. Like they really, really are. Let's see. Sam says, when you take a dog to a restaurant, are you required to show his... Nope, you are not required anything. You don't have to have a vest on. You don't have to have a tag, ID card, nada. They are allowed to ask you 2 questions. Is this a service dog? And what tasks do they perform? That's it. They are not allowed to ask you for anything else. Let me see. Rebecca says, my friend's son's service dog vest has a message on it. It says, if I'm by you, then my person needs help. Is that wise? It just depends if there's like epilepsy or fainting or something like that, where if that service dog is coming to get you, you need to follow that service dog wherever it went. So it's a case-by-case basis. I don't have that on Theodore's. I'm not prone to fainting or anything like that, so I wouldn't have to. But if you are and your dog needs to go get somebody to get help, then yeah, I can totally see that. Happening. All right, so I'm going to take 2 more, I think, because it is late and we are tired. Lisa says, what about a cat? My cat keeps me alive. She never leaves my side since my PTSD and my cancer. Well, she can be considered an emotional support animal. Emotional support animal can kind of be anything, really. A service dog is specifically a dog that is trained to mitigate a disability. So your cat wouldn't count, but if you had a dog that you trained for your disability, for PTSD, then they absolutely could. I'm going. All right. So let me see. Ashley says, did you get Theodore already with the idea of him being a service dog in mind, or did you first get him as a pet dog? Theodore kind of happened upon my lap as I was a groomer, had my own salon. I had someone come to me that said that they were having to leave the state because of a domestic violence situation. And they had this 8-week-old poodle that they needed to rehome, and they were giving him to me for free. And so I was like, yeah, absolutely. And then shortly after that, I discovered that I would be eligible to get a service dog. And so that's I was like, all right, well, then we had Theodore evaluated. Turned out he would be a great candidate. And that's kind of how that happened. But let me see. I know. I'm sorry, Ashley. I've got a bunch of questions. I'm trying to answer as many as I can. Helen says, Jen, you should do more midweek lives, please. Maybe we'll see. We got some things in the works that we're doing, but I want you guys to know, like, we run 4 different platforms plus a website. And we want to see you guys a lot, but we have a lot going on. But thank you so much for hanging out with me on a Thursday evening, talking about some fluffy poodle service dog. If you ever have a question that you feel like you can't ask in public, email me, Jen@redwhiteandbethune.com. Those of you that have emailed me, I plan on getting back to you with a response. I promise I will get to you. But thank you so much for being here. Like, it really does mean the world to us to have you on this journey with us. I'm so humbled. I'm amazed. I'm thankful. I am thankful for every single one of all of you out there. And we are going to go to bed. Hope you have a great night. We got a video coming out Sunday. Don't forget, we're doing something different, y'all. We are doing a Sunday night premiere. So you're going to watch the video with us and comment with us on the video. And then at 7:30, that comes out at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is our live stream. So we're going to go right from video to live stream. It'll be awesome. Also, can we thank Wonderful Revolution for being freaking phenomenal? Round of applause. You guys are the best. Thank you for being our besties and loving us no matter what, and even liking Theodore. Like, he kind of likes you guys just a little bit. But anyway, love you guys. Thank you for being amazing, and we'll see you Sunday. Bye.